This is the 2001 facelifted Ford.
For quite a while I've been enthralled at the idea of being interviewed and being allowed to just go on and on and on about my YouTube channel, about cars, and about myself, to be honest. But rather than waiting for someone to give me the green light to do that, I thought, well, why not tell the story myself? Matty's Cars this year turns 10 years old, so I thought there's no better excuse. So, grab a drink, make yourself comfortable, and try not to think about all the stuff you could be doing right now.
On the 29th of July 1999, Matthew Joseph Cars was born at Los Angeles General Actually, no, we won't go that far back in time. On the 28th of June 2014, a fresh-faced and squeaky-voiced Matty's Cars would upload his first video to YouTube. Over his tenure, and 10 years in fact, he stayed largely, or should that be skinnily, the same. Here's how it all started, and how it's all going.
I have always loved cars, and we've got the cliche answer out of the way there, but I have, and it's a strange one because there's been no one in my family who is as into cars as I am. Much to my dad's dismay, I was never going to be a football sort of kid. I've got 2 left feet, and I did do back then as well, so as much as he tried, unfortunately, that wasn't going to fly with me. I was very much into cars, that was my thing. It was only when I reached my stage of adolescence, which some would joke was only about 18 months ago, but when I was about 14, 15 in school, that was when you sort of get categorised, isn't it, into one of the 3 groups. And largely speaking, you had the popular group with the popular kids, you know, got the latest phones, the latest pair of Air Max, just seem to get by a lot more because they're at the top of the hierarchy. I wasn't one of them. And then you've got the sort of gaming sort of dudes who just about get through because they get all the latest games, and they've got people to talk to about what they're up to, so they're just about socially acceptable. And then you've got the nerd category, which in some ways, unfortunately, was the category that I fell into because, you know, when you're at that sort of age, 13, 14, it's well, most people don't really know or accept who they are, and I just couldn't believe that I was sort of tarred off with this brush that I was sort of a nerd, because I was like, hang on, my comedy's absolutely top class. Well, yeah, obviously everyone with a bit of sense knows that cars are cool, they just are, but way back then, they just weren't, in a weird way, because even though, like, Top Gear was on the telly every week and people found that sort of thing cool, I was very much associated with the types of people who brought their Pokemon and Lego cards and things into school and had their ears stretched and had a bag with parental advisory on. That was who I was associated with. I was classed as one of those types of people. And it was very hard to justify not being a bit of a weirdo because I was into cars, because when I was a child I was playing with my toy cars and using the edge of my mum's rug as the curb and parking the cars half on, half off the rug. I'd buy the Auto Express and I'd be reading about the new Ford Focus. It's going to be 10 centimetres wider and 5 centimetres longer, or the other way round. You know, with the benefit of hindsight, I'd have probably gone over to the normal people and said, look, can I be in your group? I promise I don't like anime. It was not only such a massive part of pop culture in the mid-2000s up until about 2013, 14, but yeah, Top Gear was a big part of my childhood as well, and would ultimately lead to me creating the Matty's Cars YouTube channel. Obviously, I like a lot of people. I think my big cousin ended up showing me repeats on Dave, and from there I was hooked. And it used to be on Dave like 24 hours a day. They didn't put like the homemade stuff on like they do now. Back then it was literally just reruns of Top Gear, and that was your lot. So you could literally just watch it for days on end. And of course, being a kid, I love it now. So when I was a kid, I adored it. It was just amazing TV to watch, especially watching it for the first time. And yeah, Clarkson particularly has been a huge influence for me. Yeah, I have noticed in the sort of classic car communities and just people I follow on the car scene, I've noticed some of them sort of distancing themselves from Top Gear and Clarkson, and saying, "Oh, they had nothing to do with why I got into cars." And what I would say to them is that just because cars that we would prefer to be preserved got crushed, and we're talking about a couple of cars over 20 years, and just because certain outrageous or offensive things have been said that myself doesn't agree with, or you may not agree with, it doesn't mean that you have to deny that Clarkson and Top Gear were a big influence to you getting into cars and getting into YouTube, because let's be honest, they probably fucking were. So there's no need for this sort of PC attitude where it's like, oh, I can't be seen to be liking Top Gear because I'm in the classic car community and they, I don't know, abused a gearbox or something. Just admit that you love Top Gear, and that they were a massive influence to you, because they were. Well, by the time I started Matty's Cars, I was uploading pretty much weekly to my other channel, which I'd started 2 years prior, and that channel's gone now, pretty much. But in my stupid 14-year-old boy little head, Matty's Cars was a sort of side thing to this channel that I'd just upload to every so often. But the channel that I was uploading to weekly, that I'd started 2 years before, that was going to be how I got big on YouTube. That was going to be my main successful channel. And what it was, it's quite simple. It was a channel consisting of British Boy Tries American Candy, the Cinnamon Challenge, 5 Things I Hate About School, and really dreadful low rent videos like that. So Matty's Cars was meant to be a bit of a mess around channel, which I would upload to when I could, but ultimately it was meant to play second fiddle to my main channel, which incidentally was getting no engagement whatsoever. Can't think why no one was engaging with awkward situations at the supermarket videos, or prank calling my local takeaway. But instead, what was beginning to happen was the few uploads that I was doing on the Matty's Cars channel were getting more engagement than the weekly uploads on my other channel, and I was beginning to enjoy uploading the car content more and more than I was making these really low rent people pleaser, sort of almost like following the trend sort of videos. Do I have to?
The Chevrolet Matiz is a good super mini option if you're on a budget. The Matiz's styling won't win any award.
I can't do any more. Quite interesting, the honest facts slogan there on the intro card. Is that a double positive, honest facts. Doesn't honest mean facts? Anyway, so that was when I was without tripod, filming with my iPad 2, and got my brother to hold it like that while I was presenting, should we say, very loose term, that, presenting. But yeah, that was early Matty's cars, and it was always exciting to do, because the problem with Matty's cars was that it was 6 or 7 years before I could actually really put a lot of effort into it. I mean, I know I could have bought a camera earlier on and stuff like that, but what I mean is that the content just wasn't there. I was 14, and if I wanted to do car reviews, I had to rely on people that I knew with cars buying new cars. So obviously, how the cars were supplied were my mum's car. My dad used to get company cars back in the day. Close friends and family, if I felt confident enough to ask and was able to explain why I needed the keys for the car, why I wasn't going to drive it, why I just needed to film it and what it was for, and all that sort of stuff. So as a result, I'd had a couple of sort of reviews stacked up, and I had to just drag them out through the year, just so I had, you know, if I uploaded them all at once, then that was it for the year then, until, I don't know, we went on holiday and got a hire car, or my dad got an upgrade or whatever. I mean, obviously, subscribers started to go up and up and up in the right direction. Not very fast, but it was going in the right direction. And views were going up and likes were going up, and I was like, I need something to upload in between these limited car reviews that I can do. So, a desperate attempt, yes, I did used to upload GoPro footage from when I used to work for Deliveroo and cycle round, and people used to cut me up, and back in them days I used to get very irate. There's absolutely no point in doing that, so I don't do it now. And also Liverpool bus tours, tried that, done a couple of them, uploaded a couple of them. But obviously, yeah, like I said, it took me so long to be able to sort of start releasing the content that I wanted to, and even now I wish I could release more, but there just isn't time. I don't actually know where the broadcasting voice came from. It would be good to go through all the videos. I'm certainly not going to go through all the videos, but it would be good if someone had gone through all the videos and pinpointed when the broadcasting voice happened, because obviously it's very hard to do because my voice has changed since I was 14, obviously. But even doing this now, I'm trying to talk in my normal voice, which is sort of a bit of a watered down Scouse accent. I'm not from over the water, by the way. And even now, I keep sort of, over this course of this video, I've been slipping into the, yes, this is the Volkswagen Golf GTI, and I'm going, what the fuck? And so it's so hard to snap out of it. As soon as the camera goes on, I seem to talk in this camera voice, this sort of, I'd be good on the phones. I would be good on the phones. The real turning point was, of course, the Citroen Saxo, obviously, when I passed my test. It just allowed me to make so much more different content, and, you know, for those who haven't gathered, my channel is less about quality and more about, dare I say, the writing and the scripts. I do like to sort of have a mess around with a bit of comedy, throw a bit of that in there. So it gave me the opportunity to do more stuff, drive to more places. Obviously, it was a 17-year-old Citroen Saxo at the time when I bought it. So obviously there was going to be videos along the way. It was going to create material for me, and create ideas, and it certainly has over the years. And obviously it's developed a little bit of a fan base for the channel. I do get the odd message sometimes like, where's the Saxo, have you still got it? And obviously if you were a real fan of the channel, you'd know from the video that I've donated it to my brother. Now he's passed his test, so that's where the Saxo is. But yeah, that was a turning point, and I was able to do so many different types of videos. And then from there, I've obviously bought all the cars that I've bought and done certain videos on them. And another big one would have been going into the motor trade. For all its faults, the motor trade, obviously I'm in it, and I have access to all types of cars. I mean, if I wanted to review a modern car every week, then I could, but that's not what this channel's really about, if we can avoid it. But I have access to all sorts of different cars, and I have work with people who also buy and sell cars and have access to cars. So if anything sort of that's a bit of me comes up, then I often get the opportunity to do videos. And yeah, there's the networking part of it as well. So I've met Joseph Lloyd from Lloyd Vertical Consulting a good few times. Very good friends with Bailey Prickett from what was the Grand Teen, now Car Culture. There's a Vauxhall owner who owns loads of old Vauxhalls not far from me, called Dave Rome. I've filmed one of his cars. I'll be filming another one soon. So yeah, everything's really, after 10 years, begun to come together, to be honest with you. And I'm looking forward deeply to what I'm gonna bring in the future, because there's, I've got loads of ideas of stuff that I want to do. What makes Matty's cars hard to do this, because I am Matty's cars, so I make it literally, and to answer the question, me. But it's hard to do this and answer this question without blowing my own trumpet. But if I had to say this in the most modest way and humble way possible, I would say the writing, the humour, and obviously the fans, or the subscribers, I should say. Just because you subscribe, it doesn't mean you're a fan. You may subscribe just to dislike every video, and obviously I've got a couple of men on there who seem to comment quite frequently about my legs. So I wouldn't like to say they were fans, but they probably are. Because obviously I love that I'm able to write and release things like the Matty's Cars Awards, which I think they are the most batshit crazy videos that I write. The most maddest sort of setups and sketches, yet people appreciate them, and there's certain things that people just go mad for, and I go, oh my god, I wrote that and I thought it was funny. And a lot of people it would turn around and go, that's shit, but people who subscribe love it and always leave such lovely comments, and I find it hard to believe. So obviously the subscribers make it equally as much as I make it. I've also got to say the supporting cast as well, which is a crowd of one, who would be my brother, who I didn't realise that he's been a cameo in quite a few of my videos now, so I've got to give him a little bit of credit if we're talking about 10 years of Matty's Cars, because obviously the first ever video he filmed, or the first handful of videos he filmed like that with the iPad. I didn't think that 5-year-olds could have Parkinson's. It's been a fantastic 10 years on YouTube, to be fair. I remember when I started, it being fairly sort of limited, the amount of people doing car YouTube, and seeing the talent that's came and went over the 10 years, and having my fan favourites in my subscription box now that weren't there 10 years ago, has been absolutely brilliant. And yeah, like I said, I've made friends. I've spoke to people obviously at shows, and people online, and speak to people on Instagram and things like that. And the whole community, I think, as a whole, is a real friendly one. And for whatever you're into in terms of cars, there is someone for you or something for you, a sort of page, a community, a channel just for you. So to be part of the whole scene and to have people who are fans, 2,500 of them up to now, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm only 25. I started this when I was 14, so hopefully I'll just be doing this shit forever as a hobby, because really I just have the most. I still have an absolute brilliant time filming videos, writing stuff, editing stuff, and coming up with new stuff all the time. So yeah, here's to the next 10 years. It's been brilliant. Is that everything